Okay, so today we're doing a little webinar, and we've got financial expert Josh Williams from Ambient Wealth Management. So hi Josh, can you hear me okay?
Can hear you well, David. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Good to see you again.
Great. And now Josh, you're going to give us some tips and advice today, and can you just tell us a little bit about your company and the services that you offer?
Yeah, for sure. So Ambient Wealth Management, we specialise in helping expatriates that are living in Europe, but predominantly in Spain. So we're based in Spain. I've lived in Spain myself for 10 years. Come from a financial background with my father's company in London. Moved here 10 years ago, and continued in the financial advisory space. And helping individuals. Learned a lot in my time here in Spain, and then formed Ambient Wealth Management 18 months ago now, to continue providing a value and a high service to expatriates, which is what I thought the space was lacking through my previous experience here overseas with expatriate clients. So yeah, that's what we do. That's how we help investment planning, savings options, and pension advice and transfer options. They're the three focus areas that we help, and we look after clients for life. We provide value for life, regular updates and servicing, to make sure that circumstances are the plans are on track for individual circumstances, and any changes that need to be made are done so efficiently.
So Josh, we got a couple of people I think are ready to jump on, so we're crack on straight onto it, mate.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. It was perfect. Well, to answer that question, Kevin, good to meet you, by the way. Thanks for joining.
Okay.
It's to understand what your objectives, so the individual's objectives are. You mentioned there potentially purchasing another property. I would advise to speak to a real estate agent, someone professional in that field in terms of buying a new property in Spain. However, with any surplus capital or funds, money remaining after a purchase of a new property after selling your previous property, then that's where we come in. We can provide some solutions, options to house that capital in not only a secure and protected manner, but also to provide some tax benefits, to allow an element of growth, obviously according to yourself or a client's attitude to risk, what type of access requirements they need, family objectives, not only tax whilst individuals are living, but also tax on death. How will that asset or those funds be taxed, and how can we reduce that inheritance tax? So it does come down to the individual circumstances, but there are solutions that are designed specifically for Spanish tax residents, that are protective, and also provide tax benefits, but they're not actually based or located in Spain. They're in tax neutral jurisdictions. Quite popular would be Ireland, Channel Islands. They're quite popular for the Spanish design products.
Can I just say something, Josh? Sorry. If you've got any personal questions, Kevin, or anything like that, obviously, you might not want to speak to, put it out on live on the air here. So there is, there's going to be a link that I send people later on where you can get in touch with Josh directly, and he will answer your questions on a more personal basis if you need to get hold of him that way. There's a link to his website, which I'm going to put up now. So if you want to get hold of Josh, then you can get in touch with him that way. So if it's anything personal, about finances, don't like to discuss it. So we keep it generalized questions here.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously one of the things I didn't want to sort of like take away from what you were just saying about the selling of the property, because obviously every person's circumstances are going to be a little bit different.
Correct.
But I mean, I don't think we're obviously thinking about moving over to Spain.
Right.
But we don't want to be pressurized into buying a property straight away. We want to sort of like do our research. So would you say that waiting, you sort of like get the non-lucrative visa, getting that, putting your house up for sale, getting a sale for the UK property, come over here and then do some research, and then obviously look at buying a property within Spain would probably be the right path to take.
Yeah, I would say that for yourself and for majority of people moving over to Spain. You know, don't lock yourself into a property in a certain area. You may, you know, after 6 months regret that decision, not like certain things in the area, in the location. You may prefer another place. You may have friends in another town or city that you meet. So I'd always recommend to test the waters, rent, try different areas. You know, 6 months here, 12 months there, until you're happy with where you're going to be living, and then you can look to purchase in that area, and then obviously then you can look at other options with capital and funds that are maybe available to enhance retirement. But yeah,
no, I think that's the sort of like the feedback that we sort of like when we read lots of people's making comments. I think that seems to be the best way to do it, and you're not just sort of like you're not putting yourself into a pressurized sale, like you said, where you probably regret buying.
For sure.
Yeah,
I would recommend that.
Kevin, I just jump on here, Kevin. I mean, I've been here 23 years now, as you probably know. But when I first came here, I was itching to buy a property here myself. You know, I'd sold my house in the UK, and I had over 100 grand just sitting in the bank. You know, and I was itching to buy a property, and I was advised to rent for a few months first. And I didn't want to do that. I thought it was a waste of money. But really, the place where I thought I was going to live was not where I bought in the long run. I bought a little bit further down, about 10 minutes down the coast. So I'm really glad I didn't, because as you probably know, when you're buying in Spain, the expenses to buy, to set up, and the taxes are quite expensive in regards to Spain in comparison to the UK. So you want to get it right the first time. And my money was sitting in a bank doing nothing, earning me almost no interest at all. So, you know, if I'd known somebody like Josh at the time, he probably could have given me some better advice. I mean, I had that money sitting in a bank for almost 10 months before I actually went out and bought a property. So that could have been earning me some money, you know, 100 grand. It was just over 100 grand sitting in the bank doing nothing. And I mean, the Spanish interest rates were terrible, but renting is a good way. Don't take any notice of what people say about it's a waste of money, because, you know, you've got to get it right the first time, really. And it is a big move. It can be an expensive move. So, you know, renting is a very good idea, I think.
And I suppose even with a little bit of interest that you get on your money would help to offset the rental anyway.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Sounds
even if it's just.
Do you mind if I just touch on one or two other things? Do you mind that?
Yeah, go on. I guess we can run through some of Kevin's questions, and then if you needed to have a conversation, we can always follow up nearer to the time that you move into Spain. And then afterwards we can do the recording, and I can explain about the company, who we are, what we do for David, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at obviously the minimum requirement for your how much money you need to have each year as a main person and a dependent. Am I reading this right, that it's for myself and my wife is €36,000 a year at the moment?
You're looking at the non-lucrative visa, are you?
Yeah,
Kevin?
sorry, the non-lucrative visa. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, in that case, yeah, it's around the official figures around 27,000, 28,000 for the first person, around 7 for the second. So you're looking around 34, 35. Depends where you go, depends what region of Spain. They all vary a little bit, but yeah, you're in the right ballpark there.
Can I just you probably be to tell us then? Do you know if that's we've worked out, say it's €36,000 a year. Is that the money that you would actually have to have after taxes and everything you would take into consideration in UK, or because obviously we do pay some taxes in UK because we have government stroke civil servant pensions. So we actually that will obviously make for some taxes which we pay, and I presume we still carry on paying when we come over to Spain.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to answer that, Josh, but I'll just jump in quickly because I did an interview with Alejandro, the British consulate for Almeria, a little while ago, this week actually. We talked about the visas and stuff, and the money that they are asking you can be in a form of a bank account in the UK or Spain, or investments or assets to the value of. So it's pretty liberal there, and depending on where you go, I mean, some places in Almeria they've asked for less. Some places down in Malaga they're asking for more. But that has to be, you need to be able to have funds available if you need it in that region of that figure. The idea of this is to see that you can look after yourself for at least the first year in Spain. That's really why they're asking for that amount. And also the other thing is it's compulsory to have a 1 year insurance policy for the people that are coming over as well. And that needs to be paid in full 1 year in advance for your application.
Sorry, is that for health insurance? Is that?
Yeah, private health insurance. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then before the S1 and all that lot.
Yeah, and if you need any links to discounts, obviously I've got experts and give you free consultations like Josh will do, and on the health insurance and visas. You know, I always say talk to somebody, have a private consultation with me, because everybody's finances and personal requirements are a little bit different. So maybe later on after this webinar, you can jump on a call with Josh, and he can give you some more details, personal details, which would be right for you.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thank you. I think on ours, that was what our main question was, really about the finances. You know, sort of like on the house purchase, the right way to do it, which you've just sort of like confirmed what we thought was the ideal way to do it, and obviously the amount of money that you need to produce each year to go in within that threshold.
Yeah. It's difficult to give everybody the answers, because it does vary a lot. But that's why the idea of this webinar and is to get you in touch with people like Josh that can set it all out for you and give you an idea of and it's a free consultation, so he will tell you exactly what is right for you, what you're doing. You can go into a bit more personal details with him, and at least have you got a peace of mind. Then you've heard it from an expert rather than somebody on Facebook.
So would you suggest, I mean, I don't know if this is the right forum, but would you suggest when we apply for a non-lucrative visa, that obviously we're not intending on working, we don't need to do any of that. So it's a little bit more, probably a bit more simple than somebody who's having to put in for an application when they're working, because they need obviously references and where they're working and everything. Is it advisable to go to a proper person to fill it in for you, or is it quite simple to do it yourself?
My answer is you can do it all yourself. You can do most of it online, but I wouldn't do it. The reason I say that is because it's something important like this. You want to get it right the first time. So it's always best to pay somebody and pay a professional that's doing it all the time. And then you've got it done. I know people that are doing it. Hello, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I know people that have tried to do it themselves, so they've saved some money, gone to a friend that's been recommended to them, and then later down the road they found out they've got the wrong paperwork. For example, there's some people that are doing the. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
I think the camera goes and comes, so it looks like you leave, but you're still there.
Oh well, I'll keep talking. I've heard people are getting the non-lucrative visa, and they've gone for the insurance and they've paid for it, got it all ready, and then when the date comes up, they haven't got the a full year left on it, so they've had to do another insurance because they ask you for a full year. So there's things that need to be done in the right order, to save yourself time, money, and stress. So I'm sure Josh can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I suppose when you go eventually to the Spanish consul and you're with all your paperwork, and if you filled it in yourself and it's not correct and it's your fault, then you've obviously got to pay for another consultation with the Spanish thing. Then it's more money anyway. So it was just more of a case of which is the best way, and it does sound as though it's best to use a professional person to do that.
Yeah, I would always recommend so in any field, really, unless you're absolutely confident and the Spanish is at a good level, especially for things you're based you're looking to receive advice for things based in Spain, and
Yes.
when you're looking at, you know, bureaucracy, it's always advisable to have someone that can help you with
Yes.
with the paperwork, etc.
Yes.
It's just time and stress and potentially more money than it needs to.
Yeah, I get that. I understand. I just wonder, you know, because you do read sort of like look at forums, and some people say, yeah, it's dead easy. I've done it myself, and and all that lot. And then obviously you got the other side of the coin where people have said, well, which is what you've said as well. I think I'm more drawn to let the professionals do it than have the stress and all that lot of doing it myself.
Well, thanks for the questions at the moment. Hang on a minute, Kevin, because Josh, I just wanted to ask you what we talked about earlier about, you know, a few questions I've had from the radio show from people. You know, what is a safe way of investing their money? You know, is there a safe way? I mean, nothing's safe in Spain, really, is it, when it comes to money? But, you know, people want to invest some of the money for a short term. What sort of thing do you recommend? There are safer things, options than others. What do you recommend, Josh?
Yeah, there is. There's a whole range of options available to expats and anyone living in Spain. Actually, it doesn't have to be expats. So that's why it's important to look at an individual's circumstances, accessibility needs. So when they're looking to withdraw, if they need an income, and then you know, the security that they may require, or the assurance that you know, the money is not going to reduce in value. It's just going to increase a little bit if they are quite risk adverse. So there are products that I mentioned earlier that are specifically designed and built for residents in Spain. Spanish compliant investments. So these are product providers, some household names there, such as Prudential. A lot of people know Prudential from the UK, and the man from the Peru. They provide a secure and they call it a smoothing return investment, where they try to ease, you know, if you look at any investment graph, you know, you have these ups and downs. They try to remove these ups and downs, this volatility, and provide a smooth and consistent return for clients. And then those returns are tax efficient for Spanish tax residents. So what I mean by that, if, for example, if an individual had a property in the UK, or an investment in the UK, or an ISA, for example, they're made for UK residents. As soon as you move away from the UK into Spain, that investment, whether it's a property or an ISA or any other investment, is looked through in the eyes of Hacienda, in the eyes of Spanish law. And upon any investment change, any sale of the investment, whether it's traditional investments or it's a property, there's a tax to pay on that gain. What is available, such as the Spanish compliant investments, to individuals here, is that the on sale of any of the assets, or when you make a change, or when you take a withdrawal, it's done so in a tax efficient way. Changes within the plan could be done so without any tax, so it's called tax deferred or gross roll up, and then tax is only paid on the withdrawal. And to give an example of that taxation on the withdrawal, it's only the growth element of the withdrawal is taxed. So if it doesn't grow, there's no tax on that withdrawal. And if it does grow, which we assume it will, say if an individual invested 100,000 euros, it grew to 110,000. The client took 10,000 out of that investment, then only 10%, because that investment has grown 10% from 100,000 to 110,000, only 10% of the withdrawal is liable for tax at Spanish savings tax rates rather than Spanish income tax. So that you can make the most of different tax regimes and tax allowances. And then that is based on a 19% rather than the higher rates for income tax. So based on a 10,000 withdrawal, there's 190, could be pounds or euros, whatever the client wishes. Only 190 is liable for tax, and that's an effective rate of 1.9%. Whereas, you know, a non-compliant investment, you'd be looking at 19, 21 or 23% taxation. So, you know, these are ideas of what are available to people here in Spain, and people just aren't aware of what is available, and that's why we're here, to provide the advice, the help that may be needed.
And Josh, when somebody's this is something else I've been asked as well. You know, they sold a property in the UK and are moving over to Spain. What do you advise about transferring the money? Should it go straight from a UK bank to a Spanish bank? Is other benefits of doing it a different way? What would you recommend on that?
I would always recommend someone to keep the absolute minimum that they need in a Spanish bank account. You've probably heard it, other people have heard it, embargoes, freezing of accounts. These all occur, you know, based on assets or funds, money in Spanish bank accounts. If the money is not in a Spanish bank account, then the Spanish government cannot freeze, cannot embargo, cannot dip in and take the funds whenever they wish, which is a common thing here. If a parking fine's not paid, or there's a death of one of the bank account holders, you know, until the tax is paid, the money's not released to the surviving spouse or surviving account holder. So I would always recommend to keep the absolute minimum. If someone is transferring across any funds to use an exchange service, we can help with providing a recommended exchange platform for an exchange company, who provide good rates, low fees, a lot better than banks, that's for sure. And again, if someone is keeping the absolute minimum in Spain, then keep the funds. If an individual needs access, then keep the funds in an accessible account. If the client is looking for a bit of growth or not such short-term access needs, then hold the funds in an investment that can provide some yearly returns. But at the same time, need to bear in mind of the reporting requirements in Spain. Any assets based outside of Spain, and that is, when I say assets, that could be property, money in the bank, any normal investment, land. These need to be declared to the Spanish authorities. It's actually coming up in a few days' time. It's every 31st of March via an overseas tax declaration, and any asset above the value of 50,000, and that's combined, of all the assets combined, that is outside of Spain, needs to be declared. So again, there's different ways and means based on clients' wishes, and that's why it's important to speak to a professional to understand exactly what is best according to the client's goals and wishes.
Yeah. Okay. And you're based down in Malaga, Josh, but you know, it's like everything's online now, so you can help people all over the place. So it doesn't matter of location, does it?
No, we have clients all over Europe. Actually, we're regulated and licensed across Europe, but we do have majority of our clients in Spain. I have many clients in the Costa Blanca region, Costa del Sol, where I'm based. I have clients in Barcelona, Galicia, Zaragoza. I've got a couple of clients, you know. So the clients all over Spain. I do try to travel a lot to see clients, but as you said, David correctly said, you know, COVID, the one silver lining of COVID is it's opened up this online space, and people are more you know, comfortable with video calls, and everything we do we can do via online communication anyway. But it depends on the client. If the client wishes for more face-to-face meetings, then we could do so. If not, then you know, we can do so via video.
Yeah. Kevin, you know, a free consultation with Josh is there's no obligation at all. So, you know, when are you thinking of moving over, Kevin?
Well, it really depends on the circumstances of my wife's parents, because Dad's not very well in the care home. So it's horrible to think of, but things can change very quickly if he passes away. So obviously we want to be there for the mother as well. So, but we are looking at probably beginning of next year.
Yeah.
I mean, we're quite literally just down the road from Malaga. We're in Benaládama at the moment, anyway.
Oh, that's where I first moved to.
Yeah, we're just quite literally just down the road. So for us to come and visit you, it's just a quick train journey. Exactly.
Yeah, nice and convenient. Yeah, by the train, by the Renfe.
You know, so that's our thoughts anyway. Is early next year, January, probably February, things like that.
Have you asked them about
What you can do,
Sorry.
what you could do, if you wanted to, Kevin, you could just pop me on the contact details, pop me an email or even a WhatsApp. Our numbers on the website, and I can make a note to get in contact with you later in the year, early next year, and then we can have a chat near that time.
Yeah, no, that'd be brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'd appreciate that, because I think we definitely it's definitely the route we're taking, and obviously you've answered the main questions, which is what we were obviously concerned about with the house purchase and the pensions and things like that. So
yeah, without going into too much detail as well, we've also got this property that we're in at the minute, which is my mother's, and she's elderly. We're just wondering how we'd actually handle that when it came to time as well, wouldn't we?
Yeah, because as I don't know if you probably caught that, but at the moment we're in Burnham and Adama, but it's mum and dad's apartment that they've had like for 30 odd years. So obviously we would need to speak to yourself probably as to when you got round to selling it, and she'd probably come and live with us, and maybe in a different part of Spain and things like that, and the implications and everything for that.
Yeah, I think also, Josh, as well, people need to be aware of the when you're selling a property over in the UK and stuff, the tax, the obligation to pay the double tax or not pay the double tax. So there's a certain. Do you want to just talk about that a little bit, Josh, so people are aware of that?
Yeah, for sure. It's in Kevin's case, for property that's in Spain, there will be a capital gains tax liability if the property is in Spain. If it's your second property, that is, not if it's your main residence. There are a few different rules around that. At the same time, if an individual holds a property in the UK, it's sold. If it's their main residence and it's sold and they move over to Spain, then there will not be any capital gains tax liability, because you're selling one property to go into another. You're living at both of those properties, and you're just moving your main residence over. Whereas if you have a main residence and you sell a second or third, fourth property and it's in the UK, then there will be a capital gains tax liability in the UK to pay, because although there is a double taxation agreement between Spain and the UK for capital gains tax, the UK would withhold tax on that sale, and then any difference that is required to be paid in Spain. Spain capital gains tax is maybe slightly higher than the UK, depending on the amount sold and the gain accumulated. Then that difference is paid in Spain. To give you an example, if it's 24% in the UK and then it's 27% due in Spain, then the 24% is paid in the UK and the 3% is paid in Spain. However, there are ways and means to reduce that taxation by speaking to a professional based on individual circumstances and how those funds can be structured moving forward from the sale of property. So again, cross-border advice is advisable just to understand the options.
Can I just ask one thing? We've heard, it's probably a bit of a red herring really, that obviously Santander in UK, or Santander is a Spanish bank, and obviously there is branches in UK. Yeah. Is it advisable to open up a Santander account in UK to be able to transfer the money when needed in Spain, or would it be exactly the same as if you had a NatWest and which is what you're on about? It doesn't make a lot of difference.
Yeah, although I've had this question before, and although Santander group of companies hold UK entities, Spanish entities, there's no similarities between the two accounts. So if you hold an account in the UK or in Spain, they won't look at you and think, oh, you're going to another country, it's going to be easier. Again, it's treated exactly the same as if you were to have a nationwide account and a Sabadell account here in Spain. There's no correlation there. But yeah, it would make sense, but no, there's no need to do that.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling that might be the answer.
The only thing I say, Kevin, is I'm with Santander, and I have been told by one of the staff members that if I had a Santander account in the UK, to transfer small amounts of money, it's a bit faster. That's the only thing, because it's going from Santander to Santander. But I haven't tried it myself, because my English bank account I've got is with Barclays, so it's totally different. But the other thing I say about Santander here, I recently changed the mortgage I had with them, and they are giving one of the best rates at the moment. They do a fixed rate mortgage. Some of the other Spanish banks here haven't offered me that. And also what I like with Santander is that if I do a transaction like today, I've been and bought some materials on my card, straight away Santander send me a text message to say that that transaction has gone through, and there's an option to cancel it in case it's a fraudulent transaction. I suppose other banks probably offer that as well, but this is something that I found fairly new with Santander last year, and I quite like that service. You know, if you go and put petrol in the car, straight away it comes up, you know, did you spend 20 euros on petrol? Cancel it if you want. So, you know, that's quite handy to do that.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, Santander are good. I like Santander as a Spanish bank account, for sure. I really do. BBVA are good as well. It's just about having the instancy. They all have good apps these days. I'm sure David used the app Santander. It's nice and simple, straightforward.
Yes.
That's what we want, really. Nothing too.
Yeah,
much.
definitely.
Well, if you're needing any money, like if you want a loan or you want a mortgage, I've been with pretty much all the banks here over my time in Spain, and they're all the same. They're all a business trying to get the most money out of you. I found the best way is to go to a new bank as a new customer, say that you're going to open up an account, you know, you're going to put all your direct debits in there, and they give you better service. I was with Bank of Popular, which has changed several times, Bankia, Bankinter, or whatever you call them. They've been bought out a few times. And I've been with banks for years, and they wouldn't give me the same benefits on the mortgage and the fixed rate as if I went to as if I walked in off the street as a brand new customer. And yes. I'm with Barclays as well, and Barclays with Cacamar here, and they wouldn't give me the mortgage I wanted, but they said to me in person, if you were a new customer coming in off the street and opened a brand new bank account, we'd give you these better rates. But as a long-term customer, they wouldn't give it to me. So my mortgage, I cancelled my mortgage with one company and moved to Santander as a new customer and got better rates. So you really do need to shop around once you're here, you know.
Yes, yeah, I have heard that before, and actually it has happened a few times in UK with, you know, new customers get better rates for somebody who's been with a bank for 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah, they're looking out for new business. I think a lot of it is because they get a sign-up commission fee for a new customer, so they get a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Josh, anything else you want to say before we round it up?
No, I'm not sure. But for yourself, David, I know you wanted to record it, do some videos, and put it onto your onto the sites. What I could do is just introduce the company for you to edit it and then put it into there, introduce the company, and just summarize what we do. So then you've got that then for
I will do, definitely, because we didn't get off the very good start. It was just straight into it. But I'll do an introduction and I can put that on the end, because I will use this recording for some of my shows and stuff. So brilliant. Thanks for joining us, Kevin. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I'll just what I'll do is I'll make a note of the contact details for Josh, and also for the person that you mentioned about helping us with the non-lucrative visa.
Yeah, and are you a member on my Facebook group, Kevin?
Yeah, yes, Katrina is.
Katrina messaged him the other day.
Yeah, Katrina messaged you the other day.
Okay. Right, okay, yeah, I remember Katrina. So yeah, I've got an information page there. So all you need to do is put your name and your email, and that gets automatically passed on to Josh so he can contact you in the future. Also, there's a visa expert and also a health insurance company, and they will contact you and give you a quote. It's no obligation at all. You can go and look out somewhere, and I recommend you do shop around, but these are people that I've worked with, like Josh. You know, I've known these people, and the people that I trust to help my listeners and followers.
David, we're hoping to do that under the S1 because we both have underlying.
No, you've got to have private one for at least a year.
Have you?
Yeah, this is what they would just say. Yeah, it's okay. I'll explain it all to my wife anyway. But thank you for your time, Josh. And I'm sure I'll be in contact with you. Hopefully, sometime this year, if that's okay.
Perfect, Kevin. Yeah. Just reach out whenever the time is right.
Like I said, we're just down the road at the moment. We were planning on coming, but we at the moment we're coming to visit Spain twice a year. We drive over because we've got 2 dogs. But we would have normally come over about October, November time. But with us intending on moving over full time, that's hence the reason why we won't be doing probably another one till early next year.
Okay. Right. Okay.
But we will touch base with you. There's no doubt about that.
Perfect. Yeah. Here when you're ready. Good stuff.
Thanks for joining us, Kevin. Cheers. Appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you.
And I'll get Katrina to have a look at that link for the other things. Thank you for your time.
Cheers, Kevin. All the best.
Okay, then. Thank you very much.